This is Luis Chaparro interviewing the son of R1, who was recently arrested. The moment he was arrested, he allegedly, according to the Mexican government, snitched and said that his son was the one that ordered the termination of Valeria Márquez. Shout out Upper Echelon. How much you want to bet his son's going to say that's not true? So who would be telling the truth, the father or him? But most likely it was the Sicario that told. Huh? I thought the father told. Was it a Sicario that told? I clowned the father for telling. Did they pull a switcheroo on me again?
Francisco, first of all, tell me how you feel to see not long ago, just a few weeks ago. We knew about you. We didn't know who you were. And we knew you in a terrible, brutal way. The Secretary of Security pointed out directly by name if he had been the killer of Valeria Márquez. The influencer, he also points out in a conference where he's talking about your father.
He's talking about Garcia Harfuch, the Secretary of Security of Mexico.
The R1, after his arrest. Right now you're practically running. You're not in your normal life. In your daily life, how do you feel right now?
Look, honestly, I feel a little scared. This and attack me for whom? As you say, I am not right now. Perhaps in my normal routine life. I had to get out of my normal life because of the questions of the accusation that is made towards me. Because it's a very serious accusation that's being made against me. I'm completely innocent. I have absolutely nothing to do with it. She was my partner. Wasn't she? There's not something I would have wanted to do a thing of that barbarity.
When do you meet Valeria? In what year? How do you meet her? How did you start to have a relationship with her?
Our one son shouldn't have talked about shit and should have had a lawyer release a statement. Come on, man. He's going to go get it. He's going to confirm it to us through Luis Chaparro.
In more or less 2021, she worked. It's called an image there in Guadalajara. They work in clubs and all of that is an image of the club.
In other words, they dedicate themselves to inviting people to go.
It fills up. That's right. Then I met her in a club in Guadalajara. Then we met in another club and from there she came out. Pass me your number. We met on social networks already talking and everything. And that's where it came from. It emerged in time.
Alright, she was a club promoter. Basically a, carnival barker. Stand outside. Attract people to the club. He met her. He liked her.
About 2 or 3 years later, in which we began to formalize things a little more. Because we already had a friendship, and it was in the time that I decided to declare myself and all that.
I don't like his smiley little smirk when he talking about her and shit.
You get boyfriends and then they last a while, or was it one enough to come and go?
It's that we lived together. In fact, that's when we started, because she lived with her friends. Then she went to live with another friend closer to where I lived. And then she went to live with me. We were together, living things afterwards, because they didn't work out between her and me. Normal of each relationship. I believe that all couples have problems. Whatever you want. We're done and from January to April. It was in January that we finished until April. I didn't hear anything from her anymore. I'll see her again in April. From 2025 at the TIPA festivities.
Last April.
Aha. There we agreed again. We're back there to have communication. Talks. Between us. Things of intimacy at the time and then it happens.
Murder of Valeria.
Yeah, man, get to that shit, man. Alright, so he met her in a club. They had on and off. They split up. He saw her again in April 25. She's not here to verify any of this, but he says he smashed in around that time. And now, boom, now they're going to get to what happened to her. Let's see what this guy's talking about. I almost want to go back to the Spanish version. This AI is so fucking bad.
At some point in 2025, Valeria uploads some videos where she talks about being jealous that you got out of a place. Says that guy that at the end of the day is what they are connecting right now with homicide. That is, it was the sudden relationship of jealousy.
It's like I tell you. We had couples problems when that happens from the club. From the publication she made, it was because on that day, if I remember correctly, it was a Saturday. That day we ended in what was agreed upon. Now the relationship was good. You on your side, I on mine. Simply, if we coincide somewhere, if I am first, then you avoid it and vice versa. If
So
you're
they split up and had some kind of bullshit arrangement. They're trying to be amicable, according to this smiley face guy. And evidently she saw him somewhere and she made a post. And supposedly there was some jealousy or some bullshit. And she said some shit about him. I don't know. We'll see.
When she leaves, it's because I see the publications that she makes. I never saw it. It was a reaction of jealousy. I never waited for it to happen.
You saw him as someone who was angry at the time.
And she always dedicated herself to that. So I said, well, I've almost never liked social media. Honest, she did it. She exhibited me in that way. I saw it later. It already happened. We talk about things. Because we are good again. Not that well. We don't have to bother anymore.
But basically saying, boom, she had an outburst on social network. He chalked it up to her being angry and jealous. But supposedly they talked about it again later. So it turns out I'm there. She arrives. We start arguing in the club. When she leaves, I see the post that she makes. And I chalked it up to her being jealous. I never anticipated for something like that to happen. He said it's not a big deal because that's what she do anyway. Jump on social media. He said I never really liked social media. She did it. She exposed me like that. But what did she say about him? We need that part of this story. He's doing a good job trying to sell himself like he's a good guy. Sadly, there'll be a bunch of girls that would think it'll be okay to date them. To date these guys, this dude might have not done it, but had some involvement. Too self-centered. That's what she said. She'd rather shit in her soup than get back with him. According to what was revealed, Francisco allegedly threatened the influencer on several occasions and asked his father to take her life. This is what Garcia Harfuch had to say. The son of R1 had a romantic relationship with Valeria. He had already threatened her on several occasions, and everything indicates this will be proven, that the son asked his father R1 to commit the femicide. However, the secretary also clarified that the murder of the mayor of Uruapan is not linked to the influencer, and that different lines of investigation are being pursued for each case. Same dirtbags, different crimes. What was the relationship like between Valeria Márquez and Francisco, son of R1? After the murder of Valeria Márquez in May 2025, versions began to emerge about who killed her, and one of the first hypotheses was related to an alleged ex-boyfriend of the influencer. Now, after the details revealed by Omar Garcia Harfuch, a series of photos, videos, and audios of Valeria Márquez began to go viral again, in which she allegedly revealed how violent her relationship with Francisco Alvarez, son of R1, was. It is worth mentioning that it was the content creator herself who released these files during 2025 and prior to her violent murder, in which she spoke of humiliations and threats she suffered during her last relationship. Ladies, one time a man show you who he is, believe him and leave. Men, same thing. The moment someone shows you who they are, believe it and leave. Oh, shy bond, the trauma bonds and that. Shut the fuck up.
Shut up, bitch. Shut your fucking mouth.
You're playing with your life. In X, days after her death, some photos published by Valeria Márquez went viral. The first was an Instagram story showing the influencer's legs with bruises, and she left a message in which she holds her ex responsible for anything that might happen to her and her family. He was my current partner with whom I was living. That's why I say he's my ex. And I hold that person responsible for anything that might happen to me or my family, even if I have to leave the city. That sounds pretty clear. Maybe you should have left the city. Phone, social media, all of this bullshit people argue over. Oh, he's cheating, this, man, listen. Take her. Take him. The fuck? Subsequently, an alleged WhatsApp conversation between Valeria Márquez and R1's son was leaked, in which he is seen threatening her and asking her to do what he says, or else there will be consequences for her. Uh-oh. What did Jay say? He's doing a good job trying to sell himself like he's a good guy. And sadly, it'll be a bunch of girls that would think it'll be okay to date him. Somebody gonna write him when they lock his ass up. He's gonna have a bunch of girls writing him, talking about, I could be the one. Let me be the one. Then, an alleged audio recording also went viral on social media. In it, Valeria can be heard talking about how her ex-boyfriend humiliated her and tried to discredit her for having been with other men. This is the conversation they said. Why do you learn how to pay attention to me? You don't want to know you don't know my bad side, or you should pay attention to me. You don't know my bad side. And you know what she told him? Vete a la verga.
Go home and get your fucking shine.
He said, and I don't want to go showing you my bad side. And she said, you're going to remember me. He said, all day long, you're sending me a la verga. And every day having a good time, and he's laughing at her. No mames. Have some shame, he tells her. You make me do things I don't want to do. But then this fucking idiot circled this and covered this, and I can't see the rest. We live in the same house. And then he says something cuando llegas, when you arrive. Call me when you arrive. Is this threatening? Is all of this threatening? Oh, maybe he's saying I'll see you when you get home. I don't know what. Is this threatening is what the question asks. All right, let's get to the audio. The audio said, he told me I was already too used. That he didn't like women who had been with too many men. That a lady doesn't go from bed to bed, and I was one of those. He told me it disgusted him to know how many men I had slept with. That I wasn't good enough to introduce to his friends. That how could he give me his last name if I was already recycled? Well, why you up her ass then, you bitch ass soft punk? You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, these guys don't know that they're spoiled rich kids. They don't know. They just think they're fucking tough guys. They just think they're, they was born into toughness. With soft ass faces like his. What you sweating her for then? Go handle your business. The young woman also reportedly admitted that she tolerated controlling and jealous behavior because she believed her partner loved her. There I was like a fool believing he loved me, putting up with his outbursts, his control, even his jealousy, only for him to end up treating me like trash, says the voice attributed to Valeria. Who is Francisco, son of R1? Francisco, son of R1 is also his nickname is Narco Jr.
No, mommy's wait.
These guys are jerk-offs, bro. Never met a hard man that grew up in a soft life. Always baby-ass bitches. Never enough evidence for a fool. Can't convince them. Why is she still dealing with him? And why does he even care about her if she's such a piece of shit to him? He's a fucking loser. That's why. Nicknamed Narco Jr., he is directly linked to the criminal group Los R''s and a criminal cell of the CJ&G and one of the most violent within the cartel. Although very little is known about Francisco, it's known that he was the boyfriend of Valeria Márquez, the influencer murdered in Zapopan. They reportedly met at a nightclub, and from there began their relationship. I didn't see her till the next day. We talked about it. We were good again after that. We don't have to, that's fine. We're done. We don't have to bother each other no more. And I never expected a situation like that to happen. So you didn't particularly end badly. Y'all ended amicably. Sure. After those posts, we saw each other again. We were fine. When we were fine and we finally, figured it out and got along, we even agreed on the Tepa festival. We met again at the festival. And one night she stayed there with me. We were having, little communication. And we had plans to maybe try something again. But I don't know, man. You said she was washed up. What you want her for? Why you working so hard? Before we get to what happened to her, there are two contexts that put you in the situation you're in right now. One is Valeria's situation and the other one is your father's situation. Did Valeria know about your father and who he was? Yes, he said, she lived with my family. I also lived with her family. She went to family parties, came to my father's birthday parties. We spent a lot of time together. I'm telling you, we were already together. It was a stable relationship. I never expected that tragedy to happen to her. It still hurts me to this day. Honestly, because it's someone I loved very much. We had many plans. We had many projects ahead of us. And it just puts me kind of cornered. Let me explain something to you young people, if there's any young people out there. Stop with all the text arguing and all of the bullshit. Because You're going to say shit, and let's say you're in a situation where something happens to the person you were talking to, and now they're trying to use their shit against you, and you actually are innocent. I'm not saying this guy is. I'm saying that's something that can happen, and you opening up the door to that shit yourself. So I'm cornered into a real situation, you know, to from what's being discussed to what really happened. In other words, there are two very, very different contexts. I have absolutely nothing to do with what happened to her. But we did live together with our families. They knew each other's families, and everyone was known to know each other. She knew all about my family, too. You just ratted your family out. You're supposed to deny, ain't you? It must be nice to be the only one alive to control the narrative, you know? I think we'd always got along really well. He said, and in your family, let's say your father does what he used to do. Did you grow up in that context? Were you born into that context? What your dad was doing? AKA, he's asking you, Narco Jr., username Mini Cartel. He's asking you if you're a Tony Tough Guy cartel guy. He's like, were you born into it? He said, it's probably not something where it's like father says, let me invite my son into this, but, you know, were you separated or were you in the game? Are you in the game? He said, not at all. I'm not involved in it. Not at all. And my father never interfered in my private matters. As a father, I don't know if you have children, but if I introduced him to a woman I was with, she was simply my son's wife, right? I didn't give my opinion. I didn't talk about approving anything or anything. It was simply about accepting it. And that's how it was. So he's saying he was never in the game. So your upbringing with your father and everything caused you some problems, right? I don't know if it's fear of, you know, what happened to him could happen to you. In other words, did that part cause you some fear? He said no. I think we were coexisting, but healthily. I don't want to talk to you about personal matters with my family. I would rather talk to you about my own issue, which is that I'm being unfairly accused of this. But now with my family, with my father, we lived as a family, and that's it. He said, I was asking you this because these are like the two things that they're trying to mix together at the end of the day in your case. Your dad's activities, your dad's arrest, and Val's murder. Those two things make it seem like you're not the kind of person you are. You're not your dad at the end of the day. And with Valeria, you had dudes trying to tell him, hey man, the stories, you know, they're putting the stories together, so I'm putting the stories together. Family and what happened to this young lady. And he said, yeah, but my father's being accused too. I don't understand how they can accuse us saying he asked his dad for a favor when there's no evidence. I mean, the person who dares to make a statement like that, was he present when I supposedly asked for that favor? Well, here's the thing. I thought he was, because I was under the impression that this was coming from your father. I thought your father used you as a bargaining chip. Maybe I'm wrong. The problem is nobody says who's saying what. They just say a lot of shit is being said. So I'm completely innocent in this matter. Of course, my dad is innocent too, you see, because he didn't get involved in any of that. What are you saying? You did it yourself? Huh? I mean, to begin with, I never asked for a favor. Look, he sounded like he tripped up right there. He sounded like he tripped up. He didn't sound like shit because I didn't hear him. But I read it. He sounded guilty as fuck to me. There, he fucked up right there. Was the person who said this there when I supposedly asked the question? Of course not. So if I'm completely innocent in this matter, of course my father's innocent too. You see, because he didn't get involved in any of that. Get involved in any of what, bro? Did you word that wrong? What you get involved in? I mean, to begin with, I never asked for a favor. Yeah, he had to walk that shit back. Did you know what was going on that day? He said, I had an apartment. I rented one there in Real Center, which are the towers. It's called the Real View Towers, something like that. I was there. A friend calls me and says, hey, how are you? It had been a while since I had talked to that friend. Anyway, we said hi and everything. And he said, hey, this is happening. And he said, I went to watch Valeria's live stream and she got shot. I said, but I'm right next door. I mean, it's illogical. What you mean you're right next door? Next door to what? Next door to where it happened? I was near. Yes, of course. Because those who know, that real center is there and a few blocks away is the salon. I said, well, I'm here. I don't hear anything strange. I mean, everything's fine. Well, if you're a couple blocks away, you should probably shut the fuck up. And I was even talking to her that day. I mean, hours before I was in contact with her. That lady took that phone. Where did that phone end up? And he said he talked to her. Is there proof of that? You make a claim like you talked to somebody. There's a digital record of that. Hours before I was in contact with her. I passed by there because there's a barbershop. You said contact. Contact, what does that mean? Did you text? Did you talk face to face? Because now you're saying there's a barbershop next to it. Let's be clear, liars. There's a barbershop next to your business. I was going to get a haircut. I think there wasn't time. The guys there were busy or something. I don't know. I remember exactly what happened. I would remember exactly what happened, why I wasn't in that barbershop when I was supposed to be. Or when I should have been. To save my woman. Anyway, I went. I saw her there. Okay, you saw her. Is there any proof of that? Cameras everywhere. We need some proof. Flock cameras. Shannon, can we call them, see if we got some cameras out there? Or is this just American surveillance? Flock shit. He doing and saying way too much. I just saw her. I was followed and I was talking to her. And I mean, that should be part of the evidence in the investigation. The government should have that. He said somewhere before the interview that he never participated in the activity of the cartel. Only enjoyed his family's money and access. Here's one thing. Cerotre could be throwing the whole family under. Cerotre gets rid of his dad and the son to prevent possible successor. I'm doing devil's advocate, how they say. Hey, it's not a bad one. Everybody's doing that to everybody, man. Again, if you watch all my cartel episodes, the blueprint was written 40 years ago by Mayo Zambada, Chapo. The blueprint was written. Betrayal, cooperation, snitching. It's all, it all goes together. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be accusing him if they didn't have any evidence, right? Yeah, they gotta have something. Listen, I've been under the impression the whole time. I said it, and y'all know I don't like to say shit that ain't the truth. So I said it in the last video we did about this. I said his father went and snitched on him because I thought that's what Harfuch was saying. He's saying he was arrested, and from that investigation came this information. Maybe he wasn't the only one arrested. I don't know. But they like doing that vague-ass talk. They talk like liars, too. Sounds sketchy, saying too much. Got every crevice of time accounted for. He's only incriminating himself with this interview. Look, I got you. I saw her. I seen her. I was there. I was going to get a haircut. I didn't get a haircut. All right, we should see that. For real, and thinking he's owning this shit. Never talk and always have a lawyer present. Absolutely. I just happened to be next door. I was right down the block, man. The fuck you mean? Boom. So there should be surveillance camera. There was communication happening here. And I understand they handed over her cell phones. So they know perfectly well that I was communicating with her that day. The day that happened. And they have to know the whole truth. They have her devices as far as I know. I still don't understand that lady turning off that phone. Why turn off the live stream? Let me ask you. You're just a friend, an employee. You have no evil intentions. You witnessed this young lady just get smoked in front of you. Is your very first instinct to turn off a live stream? And if you are innocent, why do you turn off the live stream? Is it what? Is it an instant thought of, oh my God, people shouldn't be seeing this, right? Like a protection of her? Or do you not think about the fucking live stream at all? You just saw your homegirl get smoked in front of you. You don't think about the phone at all. That shit just rolls. Or the moment she slumps over, you reach up, you grab the phone, and you cut off the live stream. Very strange. And if she turned that over to police, and she's not, and I believe when we covered it at the beginning, she wasn't charged with anything. And at the moment that your friend tells you this, you tell him, yeah, I didn't hear nothing. He says, yes. Then I left the apartment and went to walk by, and the ambulances were already there pulling up the yellow tape. pulling up the yellow tape. I mean, that's also part of the evidence. It could be part of the investigation. It's very easy to verify. So did you not walk up to the tape? Did you not walk up to the scene like in a movie and shit, crying, pushing the cop off you? Déjame es mi mujer, déjame. No, you didn't, none of that? What'd you do? You just drove away? Maybe he's about to tell us. I agree, Shannon. The phone live stream would be the last thing on my mind if my girlfriend just got smoked in front of you, right there. The first thing she did was reach for that stream and turn it off. Look, yes, I went to see, of course, but I didn't get out of the car. Typical murder tendencies to go back to the crime scene. Let me go make sure. I went to pass through there and the ambulances were there. They're putting up the yellow tape, but that's also part of the evidence. It could be part of the investigation. Very easy to verify. I didn't get out the car. I just passed by and saw everything. But didn't he say he loved her? Didn't he say he loved her? Why you don't get out and go see what happened? There was already a social lynching against me on social media. So by the time you drove over there past where she was lying dead, you were already being lynched in social media. But that mattered. I thought you loved her. I thought you just spoke to her that day. I thought you don't get out of the car. You just was with her in April. You don't get out of the car. You left because you was afraid of something. Thought about that too, but maybe fear for the finger pointing if he was seen. For the finger pointing if he was seen. I don't know. It depends. Do you love her? Even as a friend? If you didn't do it and know you didn't do it and know it has zero to do with you, don't you stop and be like, suéltame. So there was people already attacking me on social media. I thought he said he don't really do social media, but he knew as soon as that happened, they were saying it was him. Coño, man.
Coño, man.
God damn. It's crazy to me. What you leave the crib for? If you was just going to drive by, yeah, that all sounds like some bullshit. Sounds like you talking too much. You shouldn't be saying none of this. It was something uncomfortable that I never experienced before. It's kind of weird how they just walked right past. He walked by her body or drove by, and now he's been talking about social media for a long little stretch of time. I took a break to protect my pain, my image, you know? Something you never expect. I never expected news like that, much less from someone I really wanted. I even wrote to her dad the day it happened. I apologized to him, not being present at the wake or at her funeral. Sure, but I was subjected to a lot of social backlash. Damn, that shit kept you from her funeral? Worried about his image. Too fucking funny. Salutes. I thought he didn't do social media yet. He had an account. Contradictions. Now he's saying he don't do it like she do it. It didn't seem like a good idea to show up with all the social media backlash to a place where I might be attacked. So you scared? So it was a very difficult thing that I went through. I still pass by to this day. I feel a lot of helplessness. I repeat, I'm afraid of the accusations being made against me. It's not like a judge or someone who's giving me a verdict. I'm being attacked from all sides. This is people. After Valeria's murder, did you ever think about who it could have been? Do you have some idea? You say, no, I have no idea. But I'm telling you, it's a moment of helplessness, of not being able to do anything. But I thought ain't your name Narco Jr.? Specifically, ain't your name Narco Jr.? You can't find nothing out in your town? This shit ain't adding up, bro. The math ain't mathing. You can't do nothing? So motherfuckers are just murking people in your Narco Jr. land? What are we talking about? You couldn't find no information? Man, you didn't have no juice. If somebody else indeed did do it and you couldn't figure that out, you ain't had no juice. So besides me, they're accusing me. It's very difficult. It's something that raises many questions that one asks oneself, even today. But I don't know who did it. or why? At some point, what was the most discussed on social media, along with the accusations they made against you, is that the friend behaved suspiciously. That the friend said wait, because Valeria can be heard in the video saying she wants to leave the stream. She says something like, I'm leaving now, I'm going to close up. Or she want to leave, not the broadcast, but the salon. And her friend said, wait, they're going to bring you something. They're going to bring you something. And that's when things happen. This, I don't know. You're asking me. Yes, I mean, what do you think of that version? Of what was said about that version? I don't know. I mean, I'm not the one to judge or blame anyone. Man, fuck this guy. Doesn't it say something that everyone automatically thought he was responsible? Right. And he's the only suspect on paper. But he don't judge or blame anyone. I mean, I don't know if she had anything to do with it or with the other friend who was there. I don't know. I repeat, I'm not the one to judge them or determine any guilt. But during the time I was with Valeria, out of jealousy or whatever you want to call it, yes, she did stop talking to certain friends. One of them was that person who was exactly there. So at the time I was in the relationship with her, there was no communication. So I didn't live with the person enough to get to know them or to determine anything. So, jealousy on whose part? So he's saying she kept her girlfriends away and broke off relationships with them for him. And then old girl came back in her life, and she's the one that turned off the... That seals it for me. Old girl got away scot-free. The baby he was smashing. I could speculate all day. When I broke up with Valeria, they went back to being friends. I don't know anything about what they've experienced or shared. I really don't. All right, this happens. It's tough. You delete social media. You're left with these feelings. And then they get your father a few months later. He said, nah, I'm talking to you about something that's over a year ago. When what happened to my dad is recent. He don't want to talk about his dad's shit? Is that what he's getting at? Is he sweating? What's wrong with that guy? He said, all right, what happens to Valeria happens, and then time passes, and then they get your father. Luis threw him a curveball. He stopped him a couple of times. He told him, I don't even want to talk about personal stuff, man. A zip about the dad. He don't got shit to say about daddy. All right, we all saw the press conference where Harfuch comes out. They asked him about the success of the R1, and he answered very fully, R2. And then he said that we are also, I don't know if he said investigating or have information, and he said about you. How do you find out about that press conference where he says that you're implicated in the Valeria Márquez murder? He said, nah, it appeared on social media. You started to see that it was very viral. Yeah, that clip, that part, many friends started showing it. It's a case of helplessness, the inability to do anything. That's why I think I'm daring to give this interview. Because it's one thing for people to say on social media, oh, it was the ex-boyfriend or whatever, but it's another thing entirely for the Secretary of Security to say it. I repeat, it's the helplessness and the inability to do anything, because with all due respect to him, how does he determine an accusation like that? If it's affecting my physical and social integrity, I mean, it's really messing me up. He's putting me in danger, basically, with an accusation made in such a way that he said it as if I had asked my father for a favor. I mean, was he there during the conversation? During what conversation? Or who dares to say that it was literally like that, just as he said it? I mean, if I'm innocent of something so unjust happened to her, I mean, logically, I see my dad as well. He has nothing to do with it. And what Luis is trying to explain to him is they're connecting the two. These accusations against both. I still have hope as a citizen that the authorities will thoroughly investigate the entire matter and will realize my innocence and that everything I'm accused of is a lie. If you were to investigate this, what would you say to prove your innocence? I mean, would you say, let's see this or this video or this was here when... What would you say? What things could you say? He wants him to investigate for himself. He said, well, I had a very good relationship with her family. There was never any aggression towards her. She put out a whole video says, yo, you got her jumped. What the fuck are we talking about here, man? Also, if he's so innocent, why is he in hiding? Go on, man. On the contrary, we helped each other in every way. It always seemed like a healthy thing to me. I'm telling you, it's normal for a couple to have arguments, to have problems that led to deciding not to be together anymore. But I think that right now, there's no better investigation than, I repeat, I think the government has her phones. In other words, they can see that I have nothing to do with it, that I spoke to her that day, that previously at the Tepa festivities, if they requested the hotel camera, she slept next to me. Okay, but if she's on anybody else's phone, or somebody else is on your phone, or vice versa, your alibi falls apart. That could just be an alibi that you was around her at that time. That could just be an alibi. Could be the truth. Yeah, oh yeah, we got you on here. Yeah, you did talk to her that day. See, it don't mean that I did that. Oh yeah, but we also got you on this dork's phone and this dork pulled the trigger. Now there's been no arrest. In other words, let's say the one who pulled the trigger, the gunman, he has been arrested. I saw they brought up a person who was involved. I don't know if he was involved or not, but if he was involved, let them ask if he knows me. Ask the guy that, knows what I have on him if I sent him to say my name, if I know him or not. Like, Papa, well, we don't know you ain't got his daughter and shit in a shack somewhere. I don't know. Ask him to point out physical characteristics or anything else that implicates me as responsible or as an accomplice. How was your life before compared to how it is today? When it happened, I was a little absent of everything. I don't know, for maybe a month because of my pain and everything. Then I got into personal things, and afterwards I went back to my normal life. What's normal? I mean, did you even study or what? Yes, I was studying at the Autonomous University. I studied at the WAG there. I was previously playing football too as part of my activities, doing sports. That's part of my daily activities, I used to go out to restaurants and occasionally I go clubbing. I continued my normal life without anything until this happened and the finger pointing started. The same day you say, man, I can't go on with my normal life, get through a day. No, literally, they listed me as a fugitive. So when they started attacking me a lot, I isolate myself a little from life. I have to deprive myself of many things because of the fear I mentioned. Honestly, I'm afraid that they'll accuse me of a crime I didn't commit. A murder, which is a major crime, right? I mean, of course, it's unfair that they're blaming me for that. And well, out of nowhere, I don't know, to some plaza or some police officer stops me or something, and as usually happens, in all cases, they accuse me of having a weapon and drugs when I don't have anything. Why do you think they're accusing you? Why you? I don't like getting involved in politics. I don't know much about politics. I'd be lying if I said otherwise, but I think this is all very political because the government already made its statements. They arrested my dad. They're accusing Carlos Manso murder on my dad too. In my opinion, they're accusing him unfairly because there's no accusation against him, and I think that's why they also brought up the Valeria case. That's why they also brought up the Valeria case to affect him. Why am I mentioning that to you? Not because they want to affect me. Maybe they want to affect him, but more than anything because they already made a statement where the government will no longer be able to back down. So I think that when the government closes a case, or rather when a case is open, they want to close it as soon as possible. So maybe that's the hook. In which I'm not saying my dad is entirely innocent or not. It's not up to me to determine that. That's for a judge to decide. But it would be best if they thoroughly investigated any issue. If he's not guilty, then he's free, right? But anyway, this is all a very high-profile issue, so these are issues that I see from my point of view as political. And since they are very high-profile, what they want is to close these serious major cases. Why do you decide to speak up? Because what went through your mind to decide and say, look, I have to come out and face this? because I'm protecting my image. I can't stay silent all the time waiting. Image de qué? What the fuck is image? Fucking image you got, bro. You're in a fucking Puma tracksuit. What are we talking about? Image. I'm speaking out now because I want to show my face to people so they know the other side of the story, the real one, and expose all this that's being said about me. I can't stay silent all the time, much less waiting for my situation to happen without any reason. Do you feel like they're going to arrest you? Do you feel like they're going to arrest you at some point? Yes, I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid that at some point they'll arrest me. And then I have to pay for something I didn't do. I think that's the most unfair thing, but I repeat, I have a lot of faith in the authorities, and I hope they get to the bottom of the investigation. A message, you got a message you'd like to give Valeria's family, to the people, to the authorities? I mean, I think you've already given the authorities a message. With the family, I made the mistake of distancing myself from them. I like to be able to talk to them at some point. I know they might see this conversation we're having. The reason I distanced myself a little, or perhaps why I didn't reach out to them, was because of the intense pressure I felt. And my fear was that they would change their perspective on me. Let me understand something, though. You know, there's family. They know this girl. She got friends. There's him who's supposed to, be... His name is Narco Jr. Somebody said that. They said that's his name. Are there stories out there? Do we know of any other stories where she got drama with anybody else? Oh, she could have been dealing with anybody, Shy. Yeah, somebody that can do that. Quite possible. But two of them? I don't know, man. Old boy only cares about his freedom of image. That's it. My fear was that they would change their perspective of me and that I would face rejection.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
Or insults from them. So I never dared. Talked to her that day, saw her that day, had alleged relations with her in that direct time frame, heard about her assassination, drove by, didn't go to her, didn't talk to the family, being accused by the Mexican police, government, doesn't like rejection. And for the people, I'm not trying to make them believe me. I'm just telling the truth. And to show my face, to expose a little bit of everything I'm being accused of. It's not nice when everyone sees you as a murderer, but if your nickname is really Narco Jr., you probably did it to yourself. Imagine how my mom is doing, how my dad is doing, finding out about everything they're accusing me of, waiting on a situation where something could happen to me and him not being able to do anything. All my family, my siblings. So all of that's affecting me. It's hitting me psychologically. Did you think about turning yourself in? About saying, well, I'll turn myself in and we'll see. No, not at all. He said, hell no. I'm not going straight to jail.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail.
You're going to have to find me, motherfucker. I haven't even thought about turning myself in because I haven't committed any crime. Or going to clarify. Turn yourself in to clarify. Present yourself. If a judge calls me, of course, I go and testify. I'm open to that. I have no reason to refuse. I mean, I'm innocent. Well, shit, if the judge orders you, they're going to lock your ass up as soon as you hit the parking lot. If they look for me to go and give my statement before a judge, I don't know wherever I have to go, but I have no reason to refuse. I'm open to going to testifying. And this guy probably should have just not said nothing. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Lo cagó el gallo.
Yo vivo tranquila con los pelos. Cagó el gallo. Cállate, hijo de puta.
He couldn't handle the truth. He should have not asked for her body count. Yeah, those are those guys though. Those are those guys. Those are the guys to worry about, man. Just mushy inside, soft, emotional.
Emotional, damn it.
All right? Ladies, stop complaining about the emotionally unavailable man, all right? That man's going to change your tires, change your oil. Make sure you're right. Make sure you're protected. He's a man. When you go and you look for these little emotional boys, these little boys, they're dangerous.